Hi everyone! Welcome to part 2 of our video series on Form I-129F. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, I've linked it below. Be sure to check it out first. In this video, I'll guide you through how to complete the form. To protect our privacy, I won't be using our actual details, but I'll fill it out as if the information is ours. So first, here in the upper part, leave it and do not put anything on it because that is for the USCIS only. And note that if you want to use pen to fill out the form, always use a blank ink pen. So you start here in the part 1 information about you. As a petitioner, if you have an alien registration number, you put it here. But if you don't have, then you put none or 000. For here, USCIS online account. Again, if you have an account online, then you put it here. If you don't have, then put 00 or none. So for number 3, put US Social Security number. Put your Social Security number here. So for example, 4568. This is just an example, okay? Since I can't put my SSN number there. After that, below, select one box to indicate the classifications you are requesting for your beneficiary. So since this is a K1 for the K1 visa, then you check for A. And then if you are filing to classify your spouse as K3, then you have to check number 5 as yes, but if not, then no. So after that, you put your full name. So put your last name, and then your given name, and then your middle name. Again, let me just note that this form is to be filled out by the petitioner. And then here, the other names used. If you have other names before, you have to write it down here on 7A to 7C. But if you didn't have any other names, you just put NA here. Since I can't put any other characters here, so I will just handwrite it later. You are allowed to do that. I mean, we did it and didn't have any problem. So I will fill that out later after I print the paper. And then proceed to your mailing address. Here in care of name, put your full name here, and then your address for your mailing address. And then this province and postal code, you can handwrite later the NA because Adobe won't let us put anything on it. It's locked. So if you click yes, this part here will automatically lock. What I did is after I print this form, I just handwrite my mailing address here because it's the same thing for my mailing and physical address. But if you click no, then you have to type here your physical address. So you put here the date that you started living there, and then up to present, because since this is your current address. And then for the physical address to put the address that you lived before your current address. So in my case, I put this street, this address, since I lived in Philippines before I came back here in the US. And USCIS also needs your employment history. So here on the 13 to 16B, you need to put the latest first. For me, for example, it's like Y company, and then the address of your company, and then what country you are working right now, and your occupation, specify what job you're doing right now, and when did you start working there. And then for here, I can't write present because Adobe, again, it locked me. So I will handwrite it later. Employer 2, put the company that you worked before your current job. So for example, X company, and then put the address and your previous job before your current job, and the same thing here. Put the start date when you started working there, and then when you resigned or when you wait, the job. Other informations. Again, you can pick whether you're male or female, and then you put your birthday here, and then on 23 you pick whether you're single, married, divorced, or widowed. For my case, I was single, and I put the town and province of your birthplace and the country, and then you have to put an information about your parents. For example, your father's name is Santos Padilla Jose, and then his birthday, sex, his country of birth, and his residence. Like where is your father living right now? Parent two's information, you put her name, her birthday, her country of birth, and then her residence. In number 37, you will be asked if have you ever been married before. So I wasn't, so I click no. And if you said yes, then you have to put here your previous spouse information, your previous spouse name. So since I can't put the NA again, because it's locked, I will handwrite it later. Below that is your citizenship information. So in my case, I am a US citizen by birth, so I click 40A. If you are naturalized, you click this 40B. If you are a US citizen through your parents, then you click 40C. For 41, have you obtained a certificate of naturalization or a certificate of citizenship in your own name? I didn't, so I choose no. If yes, you have again to input your information here, the certificate number, the place of issuance, and the date of its issuance. And then for the additional information, you will be asked if you have ever filed the same form before. If yes, you click this one. If for my case, I didn't, this is my first time, so I click no. And if you answered yes, that you have filed for Form I-129F before, then you have to put the information here. You will be asked if you have any children under 18 years of age. I don't have. So I click no. If yes, then you'll have to provide their ages in 48, 49A and 49B. Provide all US states and foreign countries in which you have resided since your 18th birthday. So, for example, you lived before in California or Philippines, then you put it here. For example, you just put here your current state, and then here in your residence too is your previous place that you have resided since you were 18. So for me, I lived in the Philippines before, so I put Philippines. So next is the information about your beneficiary here in part 2. So put his last name, first name, and middle name. And if your fiancé has an A number or an alien registration number, then you put it here. If he or she has social security number from the US, then put it here. If none, then we'll just put none or 000. And date of birth, and then sex, and then marital status. So for my case, my fiancé is single, so I click that one, and then I put his birthplace, the city, the country, and his citizenship. Other names used. If your fiancé have used other names before, you also have to put it here. Again, I can't put NA, so I will handwrite it later. Information about your beneficiary continued. You have to put their mailing address for your beneficiary. So for example, mine is Crisostomo Rizal Ibarra, and then this is his mailing address, the street, the province, postal code, and the country that he is living right now. And the same thing, you have to put the address history of your fiancé. Always put the current first, and then on the second one here, you can put the previous address prior to his current address. So for mine, I didn't put anything in the physical address too because he just lived in the same place since he was a kid. So your beneficiary's address history. So same with you, USCIS will ask your beneficiary's address history for the last 5 years. So if you sent this packet this year in 2025, so that will fall on 2020 to 2025. You have to put your beneficiary's address history from 2020 to 2025. So always put the current one here in the physical address one, and then on the physical address too, you have to put the address prior to the current address he's living right now. The same goes for the employment history. They will also ask the last 5 years employment history of your fiancé. So again, in the employer one, put the latest one or the current one. And if he or she has an employer too prior to her current employment, then you can put it here. So here below, information about your beneficiary's parents. Put your beneficiary's parents here. I put his father first and then his mother's information next. Here, other information about your beneficiary. Has your beneficiary ever been previously married? So for my case, no. And if you said yes, then you have to fill out this part here. If no, then again, you can just put NA, 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 and we will handwrite that later. Number 37, has your beneficiary ever been in the United States? So for my case, no. If you said yes, then you have to answer this part here. Up to 38H. Does your beneficiary have any children? If yes, then click this. For mine, it's a no. If yes, then you have to answer this part here. You have to put the name of the children of your beneficiaries, and the country of their birth, the date of their birth. Does this child reside with your beneficiary? If you said yes, then you don't have to fill out this part here. But if you said no, then you have to indicate the physical address of the child of your beneficiary. And then address in the United States where your beneficiary intends to live. So for mine, he intends to live with me, so I put my address here. And then your beneficiary's physical address abroad. So you have to put here the physical address of your fiancé abroad. So for example, for my fiancé, this is his physical address in the Philippines. Your beneficiary's name and address in his or her native alphabet. So for example, your fiancé is from Korea or China, so they have like their own native alphabet, right? So you will have to write it here. You can handwrite it too. Since in the Philippines we use the same alphabet letters, so I will just skip this part. I will put an A later. Is your fiancé related to you? We're not related, so I said no. And then if yes, you have to specify here your degree of relationship. Number 53, have you and your fiancé met in person during the 2 years immediately before filing the petition? So we filed our petition last January 2024, and I went back to visit him in the Philippines last December 2023. So this is yes. And if you said yes, you have to describe the circumstances of your in-person meeting in item number 54. But if this space here is not sufficient to describe your situation, you can attach another sheet of paper, just like I did. I put here, I have attached a separate sheet of paper for this titled the I-129F Supplement for page 8, part 2, item 54. There are circumstances that the USCIS exempts. So if you fall in this category, you also have to explain here in item 54. Next is the international marriage broker information. So Me and my fiance did not meet through this one, so I click no. And if yes for you, then you have to provide these informations here up to here in 61. Then consular processing information. Your beneficiary will apply for a visa abroad at the US Embassy or US Consulate at for my fiance, it's gonna be in Manila and then in Philippines. Part 3, other information, criminal information. So I won't be reading all through this, but you just read it, and if anything applies to you, just click yes, and if no, then just say no. So if you answered yes to 2A, to 2B, or 2C, then this one applies to you too. You have to answer this one too. 4A, have you been arrested, cited, charged? So for my fiance, it's a no. And then if you answered yes, then you have to put information here. And 4B. If you need a waiver, you just choose between 5A, 5B, 5C, whichever applies to you. But if you don't need any waiver, then choose 5D. So for this one, it's a little bit tricky because it says not applicable, beneficiary is my spouse, or I am not a multiple filer. So in my understanding is not applicable, I am not a multiple filer. So I also searched this in the internet, and everyone said that if you don't need a waiver, this one applies to you. Part 4, biographic information. So you just choose your ethnicity, your race, put your height here, weight, eye color, and hair color. And part 5, petitioner's contact information, certification and signature. So here you put your telephone number and your mobile number. I just put my mobile number. This one, put your email address. Below that, you have to sign it. The petitioner must sign this, and then you put the date when you signed it. I will sign it later after I print out the form. And then part 6, interpreter's contact information, certification, and signature. If you've used an interpreter to fill out this form, then you have to provide the information here. If you did not use an interpreter, just skip to that part or put NAs in every boxes. Again, here in part 7, if you use someone else to prepare this form for you, then you have to put their details here. For example, you use a lawyer or an agency, then they will put their information in this part here, part 7. For me, we did not use any lawyer and agency, so I will just put NA here later. So this one is additional information. Like, remember the item 54 here? Hold on. This one, you can also use this part here. If you need more space than what is provided, you may make copies of this page to complete and file with this petition, or attach a separate sheet of paper. That's it. Now we will print it, and I will show you how I fill out the rest of the boxes that I can fill out here in Adobe. That's it! If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future content. I'll be sharing more DIY immigration guides soon. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.